Hello everybody, welcome to another day of Palworld. Today what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be catching the Jetragon, or whatever you want to call him. I'm going to guess it's called Jetragon. We're going to show you how to catch him and how to catch him early. My character has never actually reached the full level 50. I was purposely not trying to get to level 50. And then we're going to go showcase a whole bunch of different skills, as well as go through the Paldek. So let me just go ahead and show you this little tiny glitch. If you're trying to get Jetragon early, or the unofficial way, I mean, if you were to fight him head on, the Jetragon is probably one of the harder ones to get. But if you see right here, there are these two pillars right here, and you just get him right in that one spot. Just gonna pull him here real quick. It's not even letting me. This one should hit him. Okay, that should pull him, and I want him to come over here. Now, or maybe he's just going to stay there. But eventually he's going to get stuck in these pillars right here. And for whatever reason, the AI right here, once he's stuck right here, you kind of can just attack him. Now, I know the AI should be smarter and it should be able to go around and do other things. Now, the one thing, the ability I'm going to change on here is I'm going to take off the Wind Cutter. The Wind Cutter definitely has huge range. We're going to cover the skills a little bit later. We're going to change it to Dragon Cannon, because Dragon Cannon can still do damage to him while also putting him on fire as well. And you can see right here, he doesn't even attack. Which, yes, it's definitely a way to, I guess you can say, cheat the system, because the AI pathing, he's kind of just stuck between these two pillars. As you stand right here, he doesn't attack you at all until you actually throw a ball at him. Once you throw a ball at him, then he's going to attack you. But the AI pathing on Palworld definitely does need to be improved in some way. I'm doing poison damage, as you can see, I'm doing fire damage, and I'm also doing the dragon damage, which also catches him on fire as well. So anytime you're fighting guys that are higher level than you, the ticking damage for fire damage and poison damage are pretty important, helps out a ton, helps to push things through as far as doing damage to them, because the damage ticking down on him really does help. Come over here, we're just going to keep attacking him. Eventually we're just going to catch him really early. So for those that are looking to get Jetragon early, this is one way to do it. The other way to do it, to fight him for real, really is a much harder battle, because the Jetragon really moves super fast. You would have to use other abilities. I was just trying to showcase that you can do it this way if you're trying to catch the Jetragon early. So for those that are trying to just catch the end bosses early, or trying to find a way to do it, this is how you can do it as of right now, until maybe they patch it and fix the actual pathing for the Jetragon. Because the Jetragon really is a very difficult boss to fight without. Now, I caught the Jetragon at level 40, so I didn't record it that earlier, but you can get it even earlier. As soon as you have the abilities and as soon as you can do something like this, you can start catching the Jetragon. Now, you see all my other abilities are not doing very much damage to him, but really, what really does do damage is when he catches on fire and starts taking poison ticks damage. That's where the real damage comes into play for you to catch this guy. We'll finish this up real soon. Get him down. Now, I know I have legendary spheres on me. You can do this with hyper spheres as well. It just takes a lot longer. You just have to have a lot of different balls with you. I'm just going to throw the legendary spheres, and we'll also showcase that too. So here we go. We're almost got him. Pretty sure I can already start catching him now that he's out with 1,000. He's already burning, so he's going to take some more damage. This is where you can go and throw a ball. We have 5% capture rate. And this is where he can now start attacking you. So you have to be careful, because he still moves fast. So now he's finally up here with me. And see how he's casting abilities? So this is where you have to move and actually throw balls at him. So as soon as he gets out of the ball, you throw a ball, throw another ball, and you move. And for some reason, the AI pathing for the fireball, which we're going to go over the skills right after this, somehow is heat-seeking for when the Jetragon casts it. So the fireball, almost every single ability the Jetragon casts are heat-seeking. So trying to catch him early is very difficult, because if he hits you with any of his abilities, it can definitely be very hard. And there you go. we caught him. Some kind of interesting language on my screen. There's definitely early access. There's definitely things that need to be improved. The late game in Palworld, I'm going to say, still needs to be fleshed out far more. When I say it needs to be fleshed out far more, I really mean like dungeons and stuff like that. Every single dungeon is kind of almost a copy of itself. We're going to go over all the skills now. So I'm just going to come over here and I'm just going to give all of these aqua skills to my guy if I don't have them. And then we're going to go through every single one of the skills for water. So the Van Worm, we're going to come over here. We're going to give him Aqua Gun. We're going to give him Hydrojet. And we're going to give him Aqua Burst. Okay? Okay. Now we're going to go over each skill and just basically look at them. So Aqua Gun, you can see right here, has a kind of just a shoots out. It has good range, but it only does water damage, so there's no extra ticks of damage for it. So the only time to really use it is against fire guys. You get the jet one that should just use E key. Is that Hydrojet? What skill is that I put on him? Hydrojet. So Hydrojet is just a quick attack one. Aqua Gun also has, it's kind of just a ball. Now the main reason I don't use these water ones so much is they're only really good against the fire guys. There's this Ragnahot trying to attack me or whatever it's doing. And you can see right there, I just used the biggest ability. It's really cool, but the animation on it takes too long. And you can see right here, against fire guys, water abilities are great. But you can see right here, the ability right here, the Aqua Burst, you see how long the animation was to cast it. It's great for when you're fighting big bosses and you have a guy that can tank a lot. But if you're trying to put it on a mounted pet, it doesn't do as good because the animation is so long. We're going to go over to the next three abilities here. So now we have Hydro Laser. Let's dismount. Take this off. I wonder if I can get the... Well, it doesn't look like it can. Okay. Kind of bugged out for whatever reason. That's okay. We're waiting for the abilities to cool down because the cooldowns are pretty long. This is 55 cooldown. This one's 13 cooldown, and this one's 18 cooldown. So over here, we're going to, I guess we'll do number C, Acid Rain. So Acid Rain, it comes out, and it's this little thing that chases him. It's that little green thing, and it chases over and does a lot of constant damage. You see how it's on the ground? Acid Rain is pretty cool. It's a heat-seeking. It just slowly tracks them and does damage. So if they're standing still, it does really good. Bubble Blast, which you can see right here, casting Bubble Blast. Bubble Blast is also heat-seeking. You can see it's trying to track that right there and go for them. The range is not that good, but it's kind of neat for tracking. And then you have Hydro Laser, which is this kind of not super long range, but it's kind of close up, but it's kind of cool if you're up close. And those are all the water abilities, okay? All the water abilities, the 6 different water abilities that I have gotten. There's definitely more water abilities, but then they're very PAL specific. So we will not cover what those ones that I have. These are just the ones that you can learn from skill trees. All right, so Igniblast, I already have it on my Vanworm. I also have Ignis Breath already on them. Fireball I already have on my guy. Flare Arrow I already have on them. Spirit Fire I have on him. Ignis Rage I don't have on him. And Flare Storm I don't have on him. Okay, now we're going to go over the fire abilities for the Vanworm. So Igniblast, you know I've seen it and used it a lot if you watched any of my other videos. Spirit Fire will put on him and Ignis Breath. Okay, dismount and put him back. I really need to switch. Well, it's not even letting me switch weapons. Will that let me switch weapons? It broke. This thing's bugged out. When you're mounted, there's just a lot of different nuances here and there. Definitely need to be fleshed out a little bit better. Alright, so Ignis Blast. That's the one you see me using a lot. Its range is huge. As you can see right here, the range goes really, really, really far. You got Spirit Fire. And then it should split and blow apart into little smaller ones and then hit a lot like that. And then you got Igna Breath, which is the breath weapon, which is really close range. I don't like it so much. You then get Fireball we'll go over. We'll go over Flare Arrow. and Ignis, Rage, and then Flare Storm. Dismount, remount them so that the skills are actually showing them down below. Alright, so Flare Arrow is an excellent ability that you can put on guys. Flare Arrow is basically like 3 Igniblasts and it shoots all 3 like that. And its range, you can see, is huge. Its cooldown is a little long, but it's great to put on guys, and I really, really like Flare Arrow. So Flare Arrow is pretty cool, right? Really long range, shoots 3 of them at a time. Does a little bit less per single shot, but they're great for lighting guys on fire. As you can see, fire damage is really good. Its cooldown's a little too long though. Now Ignis Rage, which is what I'm going to cast now, and hit C, hit Ignis Rage. Ignis Rage puts this little fire all around, very close, see, and anything within its range, it gets this lava underground and does damage. It's really cool, it does a lot of damage, but it's close range, so you have to be up close when actually using that ability. Now Fireball was really, really cool when I see other people use it, but when you put it on a mount and you actually use it this way, sorry, there's the Fireball, I'm going to cast Fireball now. You see its cooldown, you see how its animation? Its animation is decently long, but not too long, and then it does a huge explosion. Now when the Jetragon casts it, it heat seeks and follows you for whatever reason. I've never tested it myself. This is the first time I'm actually putting Fireball and using it on a guy. So that would be interesting to see if it's heat seeking as well. I guess we should have just left Fireball on him. And we'll go test that out. Is Fireball heat seeking? Flare Storm is just the 2 tornadoes. We're going to go look for a guy that we can hit Fireball with once the cooldown is down. We'll start heading back to the waypoint because I still have more skills in my box at home that I need to actually learn. So Flare Storm is this one right here. So Flare Storm is a great one to defend your base with. So if you come over here and you cast Flare Storm, it's these 2 tornadoes on the side. Its range is not long, but you can see how it pierces through guys. It can go through structures and everything. It's really, really great at hitting multiple guys when you're defending your base. So any of the storm ones, the 2 tornado ones for each one of the guys, really, really great. Love using them. Flare Storm, definitely a keeper. Definitely one for base defense. I do wish that they add more abilities as the game fleshes out. This game is still only early access. Okay, so I have Fireball now. I'm going to aim a little bit to the side, and I'm going to see if Fireball heat seeks. And the answer is no. So Fireball, when cast from a guy, does not heat seek. But for whatever reason, when the Jetragon casts it, when you're fighting him, the Fireball heat seeks and follows you, which is super dangerous because it's such a big, huge area effect. So if you're trying to run and dodge, and the Jetragon is so fast, it really does catch up to you and does tremendous amounts of damage. Now, if you're wondering where I got all these actual skills from, these little skill trees that I got, you get them from these skill trees. So if you're wondering where all the skill trees are, you can look at my map. Every single place that there's a star, see these stars? This is a skill tree. We're going to head to it right now. This star, star, star. These are all the skill trees that I have found by playing the game. And you can get skill trees, and each one will give you 3 skills, and they spawn within a 6-hour time frame. There's actually a good spot for iron, it looks like. Iron is probably the most important thing, even for endgame. I'm just going to put a marker here just for later. Endgame stuff, mid-game stuff, you're going to need iron, period. Coal is only something you need for mid-game, but iron is what you will need to make your actual legendary spheres with. Legendary spheres, you still need iron. So if you're wondering where good iron spots are, definitely look for iron spots. They have iron, maybe even a little bit of coal in them. Those are great to do with. We're heading to the star right now. We're going to switch out more skills. We're going to go over all the skills that you can get from skill trees that I've gotten so far. There may be other skills from skill trees, but I'm pretty sure there's not. I've farmed these things pretty big. So this is what the skill trees I'm talking about. You can pick up 3 different skills, just like this, and I mean to actually attack those guys, but here, hit him with the fireball. Wrong button. That fireball was still on my left click. This is fireball right here. Not as cool as those other abilities that you saw I was using poison blast and everything else, but they work. It works. I don't like the super long cooldowns for abilities on a mounted pet. When you're mounted, it's always definitely better to have shorter cooldowns, like I've shown in a lot of my videos, how to get the Jetragon early, how to get Dormantide early, how to get all those different guys early. You can do it. You can do it on a mounted guy. You don't have to have any special weapons or any special armor. You just have to be able to have a mounted pet that can move fast, and you can cast abilities and be able to get out of the way. Alright, we'll fast travel back to here, our house, and we'll go over the next set of abilities that I have. Now that we went over water and fire, let's go over the ice ones. We'll give this guy ice, all the ice abilities that you can possibly get that I've gotten so far. Maybe there's more. I don't actually have an answer right this second. Now we'll go over all the ice abilities. Let's see if I have them all. Here we go. So we got Ice Missile, which is cool. We got Iceberg, which is also a cool ability. And then Blizzard Spike. Where my guy is. Back here. Let's go over here away from the base so that we don't... Okay, so Ice Missile was pretty cool. It's heat-seeking when you target something. But the animation you see right here, I can't move. I'm trying to move. Can't move while you're casting it. It shoots out 3 little ice spikes. It's one of the beginning abilities. Iceberg, when you cast Iceberg, Iceberg comes over here and it goes underneath the ground and it just hits that small area right there. So the chances of a guy moving is pretty big. And the animation is big. You see how I couldn't move right away? Blizzard Spike is really cool where it shoots out and does an area effect damage like this. Damage is huge, as you see right there, and it has a huge area effect. Its cooldown is very long, so be aware of that. I like Blizzard Spike for endgame type of things. Ice Cutter is an amazing ability early game. Crystal Breath, not so much. We're just going to remove that one. And we'll go over these. Alright, so Icicle Cutter. This one pierces through, guys. So let's see if I can hit both these guys. I don't think I can, but we'll try. Ice Cutter pierces through, and it can hit multiple guys. You see how the nice long range, and its cooldown is not that bad. So Icicle Cutter, and it can freeze guys. So when you hit Icicle Cutter, you can hit multiple guys within that range. Crystal Breath is a short range weapon, so you have to get up close like this, and you can hit Crystal Breath like this, and it hits multiple guys. Its damage is not that great. I don't really care for the breath weapons, but they have them. Those are the ice abilities. Then we have the shadow abilities. Got that one already on the guy. Poison Blast is amazing. Definitely highly recommend it. We're going to go over that. Then Dark Laser. Okay, now that I've taught this all to this guy, we'll go over all the dark abilities. We got Nightmare Ball. We got Poison Blast. And we'll keep Shadow Burst on this one right now. Okay. Dismount so we can see the name. Put it back in the ball. Put it back out. And you see the names down below. Alright, Poison Blast you've seen me use a lot if you've seen a lot of my videos. Poison Blast is an amazing ability. Its range is huge. Absolutely huge. So if I come all the way back here and I aim at this little chicken guy, Poison Blast will go. And you have to be really, really close at X. Well, you have to be really, really good at aiming. And then you can hit him. The Poison Blast you see me use a lot. That's more where we can do poison damage. Also effective against higher level guys. Shadow Burst is a close range ability, so I have to be up close like this. And you have to be really, really close to actually make it work. It's great when you're actually fighting against guys. And then Nightmare Ball is a slow moving ball that's heat seeking. So if I cast Nightmare Ball like this. Okay, I'm wrong. That's not the slow moving one. Nightmare Ball is a faster one that moves and hits. It's not heat seeking. You got to aim with it. But it's pretty quick, pretty fast. I think it's the other one that does less damage. That's the 100 damage one. Nightmare Ball, as you can see, is not heat-seeking. The one that is heat-seeking is... Well, this one's heat-seeking. There's another one as well that's also heat-seeking that's on the Daydream. Now, each one of the pals can have their own unique special abilities. We're not going to go over those for every single pal, but every single pal has their own special. Does something special usually. Yeah. They don't all have unique abilities, just a lot of them do. Okay. Now we're going to go over Spirit Flame. Spirit Flame, I think, is the close range one. Let's go find something close up range. We're waiting for the other cooldown for the other one. Okay, so here's this other guy. We're going to just hit them with Spirit Flame. Spirit Flame is a close range ability. Okay, I'm wrong. Spirit Flame is the heat-seeking 3 of those. I actually like Spirit Flame a lot to put on guys. Spirit Flame it shoots out those 3 different little heat-seeking bolts that go out. I really do actually like Spirit Flame. It's something I still do use. Its cooldown's a little long though, but you can see right here. They fly out, and they're supposed to be heat-seeking with whatever you're aiming. Whatever the pal's aiming at. Now, Dark Laser is not something I've ever used on a mounted pet, so we're going to see it. Dark Laser has a pretty sure range. Okay, I can't hit that guy. Anyways, didn't mean to hit the Mammoris. We'll get out of the way and lose the aggro. Try to. See how long it chases me. He shouldn't be chasing me up here anymore, but he may. Okay, those are the dark abilities. Let's go over the neutral abilities. I already have Power Shot on him. Power Bomb. I don't have Power Bomb on him. We'll put all these other abilities that I have or don't have on my guy. Let's go over these abilities. Okay, Air Cannon. That's heat seeking for whatever reason. Power Shot. I don't know. The developer definitely developed things a little bit different. Power Blast is kind of neat. So, dismount and remount so that you can see me using these abilities. Okay, Air Cannon. If I'm not even aiming at that guy, it should try to... Sorry, I'm hitting the wrong one. Air Cannon is the left click. You see how I'm not even aiming? Air Cannon, for whatever reason, heat-seekingly hits guys. Here's another skill tree if you guys were wondering. Not even going to grab it for right now, because I don't want to mess up all the things I have in there. So let's see. My guy's right there, right? Power Shot is not heat-seeking. But Air Cannon is heat-seeking. You see I'm not even aiming at the guy? Air Cannon is a heat-seeking ability. So if you're running around and you don't even care about aiming, you can just go around guys and you can just keep doing Air Cannon and it will hit whatever. Kind of a neat ability. It's on a lot of air pets, the air pals, so you can do that. Pal Blast, I've never had on a mounted guy before, so we're going to test that right now. Pal Blast, I believe, is this huge blast, kind of like all the other ones like Fireball, except with neutral. Animation super low. Okay, no, it's a laser. Interesting. Cooldown super long, though. Let's go over some more abilities. Air Cannon, we'll replace it with Power Bomb. Power Bomb we'll replace with Implode. Okay, we're not going to do Resist Life. Yeah, this one we're not going to use Implode. Basically, it's a suicide type of ability for the PAL. They go in and they blow themselves up. So not even going to use it. I don't want to blow myself up right this second. Does a ton of damage. I don't really care for that ability because you lose your PAL in the process of doing it. Now, Power Bomb is going to be... Okay, just like Fireball. That's it, but it's a Power Bomb. Really, really big. But it's got a long animation and it takes time to cast. Wind Cutter's good, other one's good. Solar Blast is going to be interesting. Seed Machine Gun, that's a close-up like breath weapon. Spine Vine we already have on there, and Seed Mine we have on them. Okay. Let's feed this pound before you lose all of this stuff. Let's go over the grass abilities now. Okay. Wind Cutter is absolutely amazing. It pierces through guys, as well as range is huge. It's probably one of the longest ranging type of PAL abilities that you can have. You can see right here. It also damages trees, as well as it pierces guys. It's an amazing ability. You see me using it all the time. It also can snare people. So it has a chance to put vines around them and snare them. Solar Blast, which I believe is that laser beam-like type of thing. Yep, just like I was thinking. Seed Machine Gun is up-close breath weapon. So you have to be up close. So for example, like this close. And then you can do Seed Machine Gun. As you can see, it's not very good against, or maybe that's just bugged out Daydream. But it's a breath weapon. You gotta be really, really close for Seed Machine Gun. Don't really care for it too much. Seed Mine. Try this one out. Okay, cooldown's there. We're gonna hit this guy with Seed Mine. Oh, that's better than I was thinking. Never had it on a mounted guy. That was actually pretty cool. It shoots out a whole bunch of seeds and does area effect, and if they walk over, it does damage. So if you're trying to farm things, look at that. You put a seed mine down, and then if they walk over those mines, or if a whole bunch hits them, that's actually really good. That's way better than I was thinking on a mounted guy. Not that great if they don't walk over them, but that's still pretty cool. Okay. Did I not go for Spine Vine? Where's the Spine Vine? Wind Cutter, Spine Vine, Grass Tornado. I didn't go over those ones. Grass Tornado. I'm guessing I missed some other abilities too then. Nightmare Ball, did that one. Poison Blast. Shadow Burst, did that one. Spirit Flame and Dark Laser. Okay, those are just the ones I had. Yeah, okay. We'll go over Spyvine and Grass Tornado. Grass Tornado is amazing at base defense. Back here. Okay, Spyvine is the one that goes underground. It's kind of like Iceberg. So if I'm aiming toward this guy right there, it's going to travel underground, and then you see right there it hits him underground. It's kind of neat. But the one that really excels right here is if I'm trying to hit multiple guys through terrain like this. I come over here and do the Grass Tornado, which does the 2 tornadoes. Now, it is good only, its range is short, but if you're trying to defend your base, it is excellent at piercing through buildings, piercing through other guys. It's really, really great for that. The electric abilities, put this all the electric abilities that I have on this guy. Put it back in the ball. Alright, let's go over all the electric abilities I have. We have Shockwave, Tri-Lightning, and Lightning Streak. Okay, Lightning Streak, I believe, is a bunch of pillars that go underground and move toward the guy. Okay, maybe not. It's the one that goes above. Shockwave, I think, is a close range one. I don't know. I don't have enough lightning abilities. Yeah, it's close range. Shockwave. Tri-Lightning is the one that hits in a pillar where it does 3 toward them. So you can see right here, the aiming on them is kind of hard, but kind of neat. Lightning Streak will work in some cases just like that. You see the range is very short, so if you're trying to do mounted running and stuff, it's not that great. Shockwave can be really good if you do it like this. Right? And then Tri-Lightning is the one that slowly moves toward them, but again, it's something that can easily be dodged by enemy pals if they're moving. Let's change this one up. We're going to do Plasma Tornado. Not as good as the other tornadoes. We're going to put a Shock Blast on him, and then we're going to put the last one on there, which is... Actually, no, there's 2 more. Lock and Laser and Electric Ball. Okay, Plasma Tornado is not a tornado that does just 2 balls right there that does heat-seeking toward whatever it's aiming at. You see his damage is very low, for whatever reason. Spark Blast should be that right there, which you can spam, actually, which is kind of neat. Just like how that guy's spamming. And then Lock on Laser. You can see right here, it's locking onto them. I can't move at all while it's doing that. So, that's a little bit not good when you're using the animations very, very long. And then we have 2 more abilities, I believe. No, we have like just Electric Ball. 1 more ability. We'll do an Electric Ball. There's a ball that goes out. Slow moving. Not very fast. Animation takes a little bit long too. Okay. Sorry for all the moving around and everything. We're going to find my base wherever I left it. I left it way back there. I'm over here flying all over the place. Dismount. This guy actually is better at moving, but his food consumption is huge. But if you're trying to fly far and trying to do a whole bunch of things, this guy definitely has far more movement. The Nightwing is good for flying through caves, going to different places. We're going to cover that a little bit more. I went far, didn't I? Alright, get to this waypoint right here. Fast travel back here. We'll grab the rest of those skills that I haven't covered yet. Alright, I think there was, I didn't, electric ball, try lightning. I guess it did grab all those. Lightning strike? I don't think it grabbed lightning strike. You can see how there's much more lightning abilities. There's probably enough for each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably 8 abilities for every single one, and I don't have every single one. Actually, before I do that, do this. There we go. Let's put these skills in here. But I have what I have. Okay, lightning strike, I don't have that one. Sand tornado, stone cannon, rock lance, stone blast, and then the dragon abilities. Well, at least the 4 that I've got. Grab all of them. Okay, let's learn this last one, which is lightning strike for this guy. We'll look at the last lightning ability for him. Put this last one on him. Where is it? Lightning streak? Did I not give it to him? Thought I did. I don't remember the name. Okay, being silly. I don't like how the buttons like that. I should be able to change the buttons, but it's really meant for controllers. It's lightning strike. Okay. So lightning strike, which is right there. Okay, it's already on it. Dismount right here. Put this guy back. It's got a very, very long cooldown, so we'll wait for that. We'll put Sand Tornado on this guy and Stone Cannon. You know, we're just going to move them and then put them on so that we can see them. So you see right here, Sand Tornado, Stone Cannon. So we'll go over there that way. I think that's a better way to organize it. Sand Tornado is the one that does those tornadoes. It shoots out like this. I guess it's still on cooldown. Stone Cannon. Dismount. Guess it's bugged out. We'll do Lightning Strike then. Okay, kind of like Ignis Rage. Just like Ignis Rage actually. Except as the lightning. They would let me cast the abilities. Awesome. That's another bug. Alright, there we go. Now it shows it. So Stone Cannon. Was that big rock. The animation's long. And then this one right here is Sand Tornado. Highly recommend for base defenses. You can see it pierces through things. Its range was actually a little longer than the other one, so that's kind of nice. Go here, we will remove these abilities from this guy. Oh, you can't even remove the last ability. Also good to know. Dismount. We'll give him 2 more abilities. Then remove the last one, and give him the last ability. That way we know we didn't miss any. Alright, we got Sand Blast and Stone Blast. So, Sand Blast is the one that's just like all the other ones. It says it could snare. I've never actually seen the snare, but it's probably like just like the grass abilities. It can put vines around them and snare them. It's kind of cool. And then you have Stone Blast. Definitely buggy. It's gonna be that like that. Okay, Stone Blast is for area effect type of thing. Then Rock Lance is going to be an interesting one. Rock Lance, just like Iceberg. Interesting. Okay, those are the... Then we have the 4 dragon abilities. Dragon Cannon, Dragon Burst, Dragon Meteor. Which I think I already had Dragon Meteor on him. Remove all those. Change this one. You've already seen me use Dragon Cannon a lot. I'm going to say this is like the #1 type of ability you should probably get on your guy. Dragon Cannon, highly recommended. Dragon Meteor. And Draconic Breath is another breath weapon, just like all the other breath weapons. And then Dragon Burst, which is a close-up one. Honestly, the dragon ones that you can get, I really wish they had more. They don't have enough cool dragon abilities. Dragon Cannon is probably the one and only one that's really, really cool, as you can see. Dragon Meteor is also really cool, but it's huge cooldown. The animation is this, and it fires them out like this. And you can see I'm aiming right at the land ball, and none of them hit. Now, obviously, when a pal's casting them, they can definitely heat seek in some form or fashion, but it's not that great. And then this one right here is just a up close area effect range one, and the breath one is just a breath. But you can see I can't even. Oh, I guess that Lambo, because the Lambo's gone. Okay, so that is heat seeking. I know Dragon Meteor is heat seeking. You just have to aim at something, but the animation is long and you can't move while it's casting. So that's where Dragon Cannon, if I just aim to the side just like this, I can still hit them and I don't even have to aim right at them. Its range is short, but its cooldown is really fast. Really great at hitting guys. And those are all the different abilities that you can get from skill trees so far. Now obviously if you keep farming skill trees, maybe there's more skills in the skill trees. But I have farmed a lot of different skills. I've gone through all the skill trees multiple times. You only can get 3 at a time. You can see right here in my skill boxes, I have all of these skills and all these skills. Obviously the purple ones are the rare ones, and then all those skills. And I've farmed them for a while. We'll probably farm a little bit more because I'm guessing that there probably are more skills that I don't have. Now what we're going to look at is we're going to go through the Paldeck. I've encountered 135 different pals. I've captured all 135 pals. We're going to go through all of them right now. So Lamball is one of the first ones you can get. You can see here it's Handiwork 1, Transporting 1, Farming 1. One of the first guys you can get. Tells you in the tutorial basically to get the Lamballs. Then you have the Cativa. I'm sorry if I pronounce these names wrong. You have the Chikipi and the Lift Monk. If you're looking for any guys in the beginning for your base, as you're building your base, the Lift Monk is definitely a high one to get because it's planting, handiwork, lumberjack, as well as gathering. How would you just de-escalate a fight between Lamball and Cativa? I don't know how you would. I don't even know what that word is. De-escalate? How do you de-escalate a fight between a Lamball and a Cativa? If they're fighting each other, you just capture one. I'm gonna guess if you're fighting him in the wild. I don't know. I don't understand the question in full. Sorry. Boxparks is one of the first like fire type of guys you can get. It's for like if you're trying to do kindling and things like that. Kindling. So if you're trying to do cooking, you need kindling, and or if you're trying to smelt iron or other things like that, you're going to need some kind of fire type of guy. So that's where the first guy you can mainly get. The duck. I haven't found the duck that great because compared to the duck, the Pinglet is actually better because it's got handiwork, transporting, watering, and cooling. So cooling things down. But if you're looking for something that just does watering, handiwork, and transporting, I guess it is good. But they're much more rare to find. The Sparkit is a great pal to get at the very beginning. It's got really fast casting abilities. He's electric. You're going to need the electric organs in the beginning to be able to build things. Great one to catch and to use as a fighting type of pal in the beginning. Tatanzi is a great one to catch. As you can see, it's got planting, handiwork, lumberjacking, transporting, and gathering. Great for base, as well as other abilities, such as he can carry around a little rifle. The ruby is another one you can catch as well, but there's also in a different area. Now for those that are also watching too, you can also click this habitat button right here if you've caught enough of them, and you can see where they are actually, their habitat are in the world. We'll just come over here and just do a quick one based on the lamb ball. Lamb ball's there, Cativa, chickpeas, lift monks are here, foxparks, the duck, the sparket, tansy, a rudi, pinglet, so on and so forth. We'll go over the habitats quickly after we go over all the guys. The pangolin is the handiwork, transporting, watering. Highly recommend pangolins. The pet king is the first type of boss guy that you should aim for to get for your base. With watering 2, super important for watering, for milling, for everything else. Handiwork 2, mining 2, because you're going to need the mining 2 to be able to get spheres. One of the best guys to get at the very beginning. He's level 15 boss. You can find the level 15 boss right here. Highly recommend the Pet King. Highly recommend getting him probably as soon as you can for bases. And collecting as many as you can. So highly recommend the Pet King. Jolt Hog is another one of those electric organ guys. Kind of rare to find. The Jolt Hog Cyst is also kind of more one rare to find. You can only really find them in dungeons or from actually buying from other different PAL guys. You can find them in the wild. They're a little bit harder to find. The Ghost Moss is for planting, for farming, for you're going to need food for your actual guys. Now this one is very not described elect, but the Vixie is probably the #1 guy you should get now that I learned about it. The dig here ability is important, so I'm going to hit on this a little bit more. The Vixie, when you get them, they dig up, you see these Pal Spheres? This is what the Vixie digs up. They dig up arrows, and they dig up Pal Spheres. So if you just leave your Vixie in your base, you can collect a whole bunch of these Pal Spheres, and you can just have them in your base with this herding ability and the farming ability, required farming, and the Vixie will just pump out and dig up a whole bunch of these little Pal Spheres. Amazing guy to have at the beginning. Highly recommend. Here's their habitat. You can see they only spawn in the small little tiny area. Highly recommend getting a Vixie. You're just starting out the game tutorial, you spawn kind of right up here, and the Vixies spawn anywhere within there. You just look for a Vixie. Or multiple Vixies. Hook rats are only night, you can see right here. If you switch it to nighttime, you can see there's nighttime between daytime. Hook rats is kind of interesting. Only can see them at nighttime. Teophant is just for watering. Didn't really see they have multiple different abilities. Depresso was good for mining and handiwork and transporting, moving things around. Cremus is kind of neat, cute. Basically, if you're looking for wool. Daydream is an important guy to get if you're trying to solo the game by yourself. You get the Daydream necklace, and you can have multiple of these guys out, and they shoot out this heat-seeking shadow ball. Really, really cool, really neat. Brush Roar is one of those guys for mining, easy to find them, can mount up, really cool. Haven't really found that many Noxes in the wild, but they can do gathering. Their ability when fighting together applies dark damage to the player's attack. That's kind of cool, because you can blind guys with dark damage. Flutter are actually found nice for mining, handiwork, and transporting. It's underground, kind of like a hermit, hamster, underground prairie dog, I don't know what you want to call it. Calamari you can find in dungeons. You can use them as a glider as well. The Mao and the Mao Cysts, they dig up gold coins for the farming is what they do. I've never really found too much use for the gold coins because you can get more by just defeating bosses over and over again and selling their valuables. So, but they're cool if you're just trying to idle get gold and get money in the game. Celery I've never really used so much. It can be used as a glider. You can find them around the water. You can easily get PAL fluids from them as well. You got the Dire Hall, which is really cool. People ridden, nice fast mount. Never really used it in the beginning. I went straight for a Nightwing. Tokotoko, or whatever you want to call it, they produce gunpowder. So if you hunt these guys down, you get a whole bunch of gunpowder. And it can be used as an egg launcher too, if you get that ability. Floppy, you kind of find these guys in the mid game. They have a lot of different abilities. I never really found too much use for Floppy because you can just do the same thing with a Tansy or something else. But they're cute and they go around and they do a whole bunch of other things. The Mozarani he produces milk. It's a big cow, basically. So if you're looking to provide food, Mozarani is one of those guys who can provide food. The Bristelia also has a whole bunch of different abilities, mid-game type of things that you find. Can do things for medicine protection. I never really use them so much. Gobfin and Gobfin Ignis. These guys, they have watering and they have kindling And they also, when you have them on your team, increases players' attack power. So you just have to be in your team to increase your attack power. So if you're trying to make yourself more stronger, you can have these guys just in your team to increase your attack power. These guys you also find mid to later game. I haven't really found too much use for them, but they're just these little hanging guys. I think that this one was really, really hard to find because you can only find this one at nighttime in the end game type of area up here. These were the last two guys I catch was the Hangu Assist and then something, not this one, but the way down below. I'll show you the hardest guy it took me to find. The Masanda drops mushrooms when you defeat him, but not really that great. But the Masanda Lux is an excellent guy to have for your base for electricity. He's a boss guy only that I have found. I don't think you can actually capture him, except for maybe breeding him and whatnot. Masanda Lux is right here, 31. You can catch him way early. Super easy catch. When you hit him with Poison Blast, he bounces up. When he's floating in the air, he doesn't fall down, so you just keep hitting him with Poison Blast. Lollipops are good for giving you cotton candy, for food for your base. Other than that, that's the only thing they're really good for is the cotton candy part. The cap tree is good for also giving you berries. I've never really used them too much, but I like that planting ability as well as berries, so that's good in that sense. This guy's good at giving you wool. I haven't seen any other reason, but at the time you get one of these guys, you probably won't need wool that much anymore. The Agatha Deer is an excellent first Pokemon, first pal you can catch. The Agatha Deer is probably one of the first guys I highly recommend for boss fights and everything else. The Agatha Deer Terra, you can only find on the tiny little island over here. Haven't really found it so much. This one does neutral, this one's ground. Highly recommend the Agatha Deer. It has a unique ability where it charges and hits them up in the air, basically stuns them for a bit. Great first type of a very offensive pal to help you out. You don't have to use them, but I found it is very, very useful. The Nightwing is one of the first flying type of pals you can get with a mount. The other nice thing with the Nightwing, because I do want to hit on this, is the Nightwing can actually fly through certain caves. So if you take a Nightwing, and I finally got a few with Swift on them. If you take a Nightwing, you place it with a Frostilian, and you travel to a cave, the Nightwing can fly through the cave, as well as fly through dungeons. So for those that are wondering, and I probably shouldn't do that, I should probably just keep going through all the pals, but the Nightwing, I do want to showcase this, we'll just go through the pals once we get through the cave, is when you get on a Nightwing, you see how much smaller it is? I've tested all the different flying mounts at the level 45 that I'm at. Now obviously I can't fly on a Frostilian or anything like that because I'm not level 50, because I purposely am not trying to level up, but I'll show you how to level up fast too, as well. Now, even though the Nightwing has very little stamina and very little, doesn't fly as fast as all the other guys, what a Nightwing can do, so still getting a Swift one is important, is you see these mine shafts, you ever wonder why you couldn't fly through them? Well, guess what? The Nightwing can. The Nightwing is one of the few guys, as you can see, you can fly through here. Where all the other flying guys, they're too big. They do not fit. So getting a fast Nightwing is actually really cool. For example, I'll show you. If I try to fly around with my Vaniworm, you watch, the Vaniworm would and should get stuck at one of these points. You see right here? I can't go any further. And the Vaniworm is actually pretty small. Only the Nightwing is the one that can fly through. So if you're going through dungeons or other things like that, that's where if you still want to have a flying mount that can fly and do things, the Nightwing can basically do most of all of it. Now there are a few caves. There are a few caves that you are not able to do the Nightwing. Very, very few. But the Nightwing is one of the few guys that can fly through it. Okay? Rib Bunny, so-so. Incarn, Nim, they do kindling, handiwork, transporting, and mining, but if you're going to get one, get the Incarn Knocked. The main reason why Knocked guys are good is they never fall, they never have to sleep. They don't ever have to sleep at nighttime, so during nighttime, they'll just keep going. And they'll do handiwork, transporting, and mining, but they doesn't have any fire. See, this one has kindling and this one doesn't, so it's a big difference. Cinnamoth is for planting. Actually, I kind of like that. Now that I learned about that, but only 2 for planting. When you get these guys late game, lumberjack and kindling, there's so many other guys that are better for doing that. T-Mud has watering, mining, and transporting. This guy's a nighttime only. You can only find them at nighttime. Find them in these areas. I don't really care for them that much. All they do is look scary. Then you got the Lee's Punk. Again, these guys you get basically end game type of stuff, but they don't have the abilities to match. The Loop Moon is amazing because when you put the Loop Moon in, this is a nighttime guy only. You can only find them at nighttime. You see, there's no daytime. You only find them at nighttime. But the main reason why these guys are amazing, they do handiwork too, and they only do handiwork, so they'll only do crafting. So they're amazing to do for if you're just trying to craft or build things, like you're trying to build more spheres, Pal spheres. When you're trying to build a whole bunch of Pal spheres and you want guys just dedicated for it, well, the Moon, this guy is the guy that does it, and he'll stay up all night. So during nighttime, you switch out your guys to team for Moons when everybody's sleeping, and they'll go and do crafting for you. Gale Claw is really, really neat for its glider ability. You actually glide really fast and it moves forward. Really cool. Foodalo. If you're looking for another guy to replace your Chansees later on, the Robin Quills kind of do near it all, and their food consumption is super low. So if you're trying to do base management, you're trying to do it very, very well. Not just what their work abilities are, it's also what their food consumption are. The Robin Quill is great at for base and not consuming a ton of food. In fact, most of the guys that are people looking with legs and arms kind of are really, really good for base building and base management. The Robin Quill Terra you can only find in the actual habit. I guess you could find them there. I didn't really care for them too much because they don't have planting. That's the only difference between Robin Quill and Robin Quill Terra. Is one's ground and grass and one is just grass, but this one does planting, so I think this one's better. The Gorats are good for bones. When you're at mid game, end game stuff, bones are important for making cement. So when you're looking for them right here, they are their bones. You can see them right here on this island. This is where they spawn, and they are great for farming to collect a whole bunch of bones so you can get cement, so you can create higher level spheres. And not just for spheres, but for everything else. They're great for collecting bones. So much so that I even mark the map right here. I go to this waypoint here, Mosandra Forest, and I go anywhere around this area and I look for those Gorats and I farm them. The second reason why I mark this area right here is for Pal Fluids. These right here. Pal Fluids can only be farmed by actually farming guys, and those are the 2 best areas I found for farming bones and farming Pal Fluids. Bee Guards are great for creating honey, as well as they consume very little food, and they do all of these actions. I highly recommend a Bee Guard if you're doing farming and you're looking for just create honey, which honey is better than cotton candy, I personally feel, and better than any of the other foods that are produced automatically. And they have great defense. Get a bunch of Bee Guards, level them up, stick them in your base, and they will defend your base as well as produce honey for your entire base. Elza Bee, which is the queen bee, does not do that. But the queen bee stats will increase the more bee grades you have in your team. Now I know somebody said, and I know there's like some other videos out there where they say the sweep and the sweep. Well, the Elza Bee does the same thing. When fighting together, stats will increase the more bee brigade you have in your team. So when you put out the bee, if you have a whole bunch of Bee Guards and the Elza Bee in your team, you can do the same thing for grass compared to ice. Ice is definitely better because it freezes guys. We'll get to that a little bit later. But the Elza Bee can do just like the Swede does, except you have more valuable Bee Guards in Elza Bee. The Grintail I didn't find as interesting as all the other guys, but it's a Grintail. The Swee is just a weaker version of a Sweepa, but it has the ability where if you have the Swee in your team, Sweepa's stats will be increased. Fighting against stats will increase the more Swee you have in your team, so it kind of almost doubles. Yeah, it's the same thing. Bee Guard, Elza Bee, compared to the Swee and Sweepa, they do the same thing. The Sweepa you can ride though. The Sweepa is a ridden mount, where the Elza Bee is not a mount that you can't mount the Elza Bee. But a Sweepa you can ride, so you can ride them as well as have all the Swee and the Sweepa in there, and you can do a ridiculous amount of damage with the Swee and the Sweepa. If you're looking for where their habitat is, you can see right here. Here's the habitat of where you can collect these guys. Really, really neat. The Chillet is kind of the first dragon guy you can get as a boss. They also spawn up here, but the Chillette is something you get as a boss, kind of first dragon one that can also be ridden. I didn't get to use it so much because I kind of skipped over that area in the beginning, but it's probably one of the first great dragon guides you can get in the beginning. Ice dragon, basically. This guy does electricity, can be ridden as well. You kind of find them near the late end game. But I found the other electric guy better because this one has lumberjack and electricity, where this one up here, Masada Lux, he has 3 transporting. So when you're trying to organize your base, this guy can help carry things around when he's not providing electricity. And although lumbering doesn't seem like much, I'm going to show you why lumbering is actually still important in the game. This is the Foxel. Foxel was endgame type of stuff that you find, but what it does as well in your team increases attack power of Ice Pals. So if you're trying to make your Ice Pals more powerful, you can stack these guys in. It's kind of a neat feature. Pyren, I didn't really find too much ability for this one. It just applies fire damage and can be ridden. This is a nighttime one, which should be fire and ridden. Does kindling and lumber. But when it comes to kindling and lumbering, I found a guy that's far more important than getting these guys. Render Rocks, I never got to use them. I got them near late game. Kind of cool looking. It reminds me of an Ecothidier, it's just the ice version of it. So that's probably what it is. I didn't get to use it so much. The Rayhound does electricity. Again, I didn't use this one too much either. Can be ridden, that's interesting. Kitsune I didn't find till way later. It's a nighttime only guy. Really rare to find them. They only spawn in this tiny little area right here. So when I finally found a Kitsune, I was like, oh, okay. And then I finally figured out they only spawn in this tiny little area. So really rare, really hard to find. But what they can do is they're unaffected by color and heat when ridden with this pal. So that's kind of neat. The Daisy is the same thing like the Daydream. It follows you around with a Daisy necklace and does a lightning strike from underground. Hits them. Very easy for other pals to dodge. But you can have multiple Daisies in your team and have them out just like the Daydreams. So kind of neat. Lunaris. This one's got 3 handiwork. This is a neutral type of pal. It's got interesting abilities. What its real ability is increase your Meric's carrying capacity. So when I want to carry more things, just had a bunch of Lunarises in your team. The Dinosaur is something you can find very early. I found that these guys, when you find them very early in the game, literally at the beginning of the game because they spawn near the beginning of the game. When you get these guys, they're great tanks, great for boss fights in the very beginning of the game. Highly recommend having 1 or 2 in your team when you're fighting bosses. Designum Lux is end game type of one because you can only find them here in this desert area. They are cool, but I've never used them because there's so many other guys that are better at that point by the time you reach that point. Surferant has watering. By the time I had a Surferant just dedicated for watering, I already had Dormantide, so didn't really see so much. But the Surferant Terra, this guy, the ground one, ridiculous amounts of damage. They only spawn up here. They're hard to catch. But when I was fighting them, they really tore up my guys when I was just trying to catch one. So be careful when you're trying to catch this guy because they're high level and they do a lot of damage. This guy's a nighttime only. You find them over here in the ice area. The Mara Wraith was very interesting to catch. Not too hard. Just kind of as a Mara Wraith. It looks like it has wings, but it doesn't fly. Digitos, everyone says the mining. I didn't really care for the mining for 3 on this one. Like, if I was going to use mining, there's so many other guys I would use for mining. But the Digitos, you can catch them. They're interesting. Catch them here, catch them here. They're an interesting guy. They have 3 mining, but I think other guys are better for mining personally. The Tombat was an amazing guy to get. It's a nighttime only pal. You can catch them all over the place at nighttime. Really hard to find, even though they're glowy. But the reason that these guys are value is they have the ultrasonic sensor. When you use ultrasonic sensor, it will help you find other pals that are around. So if you're gonna look, if you're trying to hunt and you're trying to do like me and try to catch them all. Now I caught all these guys way earlier. I'm sorry, I'm doing this video later. I kind of actually stopped playing, and I'll explain more in my review of Palworld. I kind of stopped playing Palworld because the end game content's not there. It's still early access. We'll go over that a little bit more a little bit later. But Tombat is a great guy to have if you're trying to collect them all. The Lovander is another guy that's really cool. But if you're going to get a guy that has this ability, which is fighting together, grants the player basically lifesteal. You lifesteal and Lovander lifesteals, and it's neutral. I highly recommend not this guy, but I actually highly recommend when we get to him. It's a different kind of guy, which is the... Let me just show you. this boss right here. I highly recommend the Fellbat. The Fellbat does the same thing the Levander does, but it's far more built for combat. Because of his animation, because of how he actually fights and attacks, he dodges a lot. Highly recommend the Fellbat, not over the Levander. Levander just stand there and take hits, and when he fights, just stands there. So, not as powerful. The Flame Bell is great for if you're trying to get flame organs. So if you're short on flame organs, you capture a Flame Bell, just stick them in the farming, and it'll create farming organs for you. Usually I caught them over here. This is the first one I caught. But it looks like they also spawn over here. You can't even go to this area unless you have fire armor. This is a really high level area, so don't go there. This area you can make it to, but it takes a long time to get there. So if you're looking for flame organs, the Flame Bell will just start pumping them out for you. Vannyworm, the end game, mid game flying mount. And the main reason why is it's got a ton of stamina. Its food consumption is nowhere near as much as other flying mounts. It flies at a good amount of speed. There are definitely other flying mounts that are faster, but the food consumption of them are ridiculously high. So if you're looking for the first one to go for, Vannyworm is great because it's a fire and dark. What that means is if you're fighting other pals that are fire or other pals that are dark, the Vannyworm will take less damage. Where if you have other different flying mounts, for example, this one, ice, because it's ice, it's going to take more damage from fire or other different type of guys. Or if you have one that's just straight fire, it's going to take a ton of damage from air, from water type attacks. Or if you have the beacon, it's going to take a ton more damage from ground attacks, which you fight a lot of different ground guys. So there's a lot of different flying guys, and the Vannyworm really does a good mix of a lot of different ones because it's fire and dark, as well as he gets fire and dark abilities. So I recommend the Vannyworm for mid to late game stuff. End game stuff, I'm going to recommend something else. But for mid-end game stuff, Vannyworm is a highly recommended mount. You get one that's a swift. Highly recommend you'll like it. The Bushi is an amazing guy to get at the beginning. Very hard to capture as a boss. You can capture... The Bushis all spawn down here, but if you're looking for a Bushi early, which you can get early, there is a boss version of the Bushi, and he is right here, next to this waypoint. And this boss version, when you get them, the main reason why he is so amazing, just like the Pet King, he's got 2 kindling, he's got 3 lumbering, handiwork, transporting, and gathering. These are amazing abilities for a lineup. And he's got amazing abilities because he's got all 3 elements for abilities when you first catch him. So he's amazing at defending as well as attacking. Great, great, great guy to have. This guy you get at the end, it's a flying electric type of Nightwing, I would say. Very, very similar. 3 transporting, everything else. Its food consumption is high, so be aware of that. Ragnarok as well, just a fire version. Kindling, transporting, really great if you're just trying to do endgame kindling and firing. You can't find anything else, but its food consumption is high. Keatris is something that you can find in a nighttime only, and they spawn over here. You can also find the boss version as well. I didn't really find them that useful as the other ones. The Wixen as well, super hard to catch early game because fire damage is ridiculously powerful at the early game. When you do catch them, they do amazing damage. Never really use them too much. They're kind of nice. The Verdesh is one of the best guys even I still use all the time. The Verdesh is something you catch as a boss level guy. He's level 35. You can catch him early. It's very hard, but he's right here, Sealed of the Realm. Verdesh is right here. Highly, highly recommend Verdesh because of the planting, handiwork, lumbering, transporting, and gathering. If you're making your base around food and you need food, the Verdesh is the guy to do the planting and the gathering for you. As well as they're great for defense as long as you change off at least one of their abilities, because I don't like the seed machine gun. I don't like up close. They're not good at defending. If they run up close to them, they get themselves knocked out. So definitely change at least one of the abilities. Valet, I never really used them too much, but they have poison abilities as well as grass abilities, so kind of neat. This guy I highly, highly recommend getting. Boss guy that you can get pretty early as well. This guy you can get, they also spawn up in the ice area as well, but you can get this boss guy right here. And the main reason why the Siblex is really, really important to get is the Siblex, once you actually get them, they produce high quality cloth when farming. So you just stick one inside your base and you automatically produce high quality cloth, just like that. Now the Elphadran, I didn't really care for this dragon so much, but if you're looking to catch him, they're all the way down here. Really hard to catch. I just bought mine from the black market. I did catch a couple over here. When they do, they spawn very, very rarely. Now, the one other guy that I didn't catch is there's another Alpha Jetragon that's a dark mode. I've never found a dark one. From my understanding of what I've seen, you can only breed them. So there is 137 different pals. I've only caught 135 because I never bred to get an actual dark one. But the dark one compared to this one, I don't think is going to be that much different. The kelps, it does not require too much food. It is a rideable mount, but because it's just dragon, it's not as good as the other one that can protect against fire and dark. Where this one only, even dragging against dragon, there's no real actual defense for it. The kelpsy increases attack power of water pals. It's just for pal fluids and the food. Same thing like Calpi Ignis. The Azure Robe, this one can be ridden as a water mount. You can catch them. I don't really count too much for them. The watering ability is great. Can be captured as a boss. Not too much more use besides that, besides the watering ability. This guy right here, you catch him endgame, but honestly, I never really even used him. But when fighting together, Dragon Pal drop more items when defeated. That's kind of neat, interesting. The Blaze Howl is... I actually use the Blaze Howl Knocked. The Blaze Howl, this one goes to sleep during the nighttime. Where the Blaze Howl Knocked, this one, Fire and Dark, does not sleep at night. So if you're looking for kindling and lumbering, which is why I have my Blaze Howl Knocked in there, it does 3 kindling, 2 lumber, and it never goes to sleep at nighttime. It still can sleep if it gets, overworked or tired, but it doesn't have to sleep at nighttime. It just keeps going. These guys just are dumb-looking dinosaurs. That's what I'm going to say. And this guy's the electric guy. This guy has straight electricity, but one transporting. He's not as good as a Masanda Lux. I like the Masanda Lux far better. If you're looking for planting, I even use these guys. This guy is you can get early game, huge tank. You can get them really early right here because you start over here, right, and you get over here. Highly recommend capturing these guys. And then I even still use them now late game because it's just the 3 planting. The 3 planting for your actual farms and everything. Great, and they're great for defense, and they got a ton of hit points. So if you're fighting bosses, I highly recommend one of these guys in your lineup because they're very easy to catch early game. This guy there's no habitat for them. It's a boss only catch, but it has watering. So if you're looking for dedicated watering, you can't get a Tormentide. You can get this water guy, which I believe was somewhere down here, right here. He's right here. The Boncherier Aqua, and this is the entrance. So you enter here and you go through the cave, and then you spawn right here, and they're great for watering. So if you're looking for just a straight water guy, this guy would be pretty good for it. I didn't get him till way late end of the game because I was just trying to catch them all. And then I got that one. Patilla is great for planting and whatnot, but not as good as this guy that's just dedicated for planting. The Patilla, when you have him in your base, tends to try to do handiwork and gathering stuff over planting, even though planting's 3. That's why a dedicated guy just for planting is better when you're just trying to do farming. This guy was amazing for mining. I recommend these guys way over those turtles. These guys, they're literally mid-game, end-game stuff. You catch them over here. But these guys are amazing at kindling and mining because they 3 and 3. Really, really great. And they're good at base defense as well. This guy didn't catch till way, way later. Mining and cooling, if you have that type of issue, you need cooling ability. The King Pacha, useless pal. Even their attack abilities are useless. King Pacha is just another bigger cove version of it, but endgame stuff. It's totally, completely useless. Don't get them. Get them to collect them, but I don't use them at all. The Mamorist, number 1 first big boss, if you can catch him. I don't recommend trying to catch the Mamorist, this boss one, first. This boss one, I mean right here, level 38, super hard. But you can catch a normal Mamorist very easily. They spawn all over the place. You can get a level 30 Mamorist real easy. It's fighting another Mamorist, or you see it fighting each other, and it gets itself down low. You just throw a couple balls at it, and eventually you're going to catch them. Highly recommend them. Great tanks, great for boss fights, many other things. The Mamorist Assist, you can see right here, you can get them to way later in the game. I don't even know why you would still use a Mamorist Assist at that point, because there's so many other guys that are better. But early game, awesome guy to use. Early game, mid game. This guy you only get in your late game stuff, and by the time you get him, I don't know what you would use them for. Wumbo, you don't get them till way late, and even when you do, you get Handiwork 3, Lumbering 3, Transport 4. I guess the Transport 4 is kind of cool. Cooling 2. Once a Baton is the exact same thing, except just no cooling. Once a Baton has cool things to help you carry things, help your carrying ability. The War Sect is a great guide to have for defense. When fighting together, increases players' defense and applies fire damage to players' attack. That's amazing. As well, it has 3 transporting, 3 lumberjacking. But I mainly use it for attacking. So if you're looking for another boss to upgrade from a Memorist, the War Sect is pretty cool with grass and ground. It's a pretty neat guide to have. Fangalope, never used them. No reason to use them when you get them. You can't get them until the end game anyways. So they were interesting. Fellback, you can get them early in the game. Number 1 best offensive pal you can get. It looks like I'm already freezing, which is bad. Let me get out of this cave real quick. I didn't put on my other armor, so I need to actually get out of here. So I'm doing that. Sprint, sprint, sprint. Not good, not good. It's nighttime. There you go. Nice thing about riding one of these guys is you can see I'm not cold anymore, so I guess we can keep going. Let's get back to over here. Where's the waypoint? Should be up here somewhere. You can see this flying mount I use all the time. It's got tons more stamina. I'm literally sprinting the whole time. I just wish I got a swift version of him. It's the last one of the last ones you can get around the level 40-ish mark. Alright, let's go back to the Paldeck. Fellback, amazing guy to get. Highly recommend him. Great for fighting bosses, great for fighting everything. You see I've caught a ton of them. The main reason why I caught a ton of them is I'm still trying to find the perfect version. Once you get a whole bunch of Fellbats, you can convert the Fellbats, increase their stars. I'm talking about the little stars right here. And then you can make them even more powerful. Love the Fellbat that I have. Give him abilities. Once you give him a really quick ability, you line up. Really awesome. The Wyvern is also another guy you can get very early. This is an amazing guy to get because it's a dragon. Its food consumption is really low. Its transport's it's only 3, and its mining is 2. This is amazing for base management, base defense, and base gathering. Wyvern is an amazing guy to have. Really big though, not cool to mount because the wing gets in the way for aiming. But really cool to collect. You see I've gotten a whole bunch of them. The Wyvern you can find right here in the bosses. Level 23, early game, easy catch. Sad part is, for technology, the Wyvern, you can't ride a Wyvern until later. Not till level 36. So even though you can catch them early, you can't ride them until much later. But they're great for base management and base defense and many other things. You can see I even still have a Wyvern in my main lineup for my base. Blazemont, you can't get this till end game. It's got 4 mining, 3 kindling. Its food consumption is one of the largest food consuming type of guys. So if you put him in your base, he's going to consume a lot of food. Its habitat is here. You can get them there, as well as there's the boss version over here. The Blazemont, the boss version is super easy. It's got very little hit points, so it's not a big deal. The Helzifer is a very nighttime only guy. I think it's actually almost better than the Vannyworm, but these guys are just so hard to find a good version. Where the Vannyworm you can find in abundance, these guys you can only find at nighttime, and they're only spawned in this tiny little area. Where the Vannyworm you can find all over the place. That's why the Vannyworm is easier to catch and get a swift version of it. The Astigan, which is a mining 4, handiwork 1. These guys are really great. You can catch them up here on this little tiny island, as well as it's a nighttime guy, so he doesn't go to sleep. Really easy to catch, really easy to find. Mining 4, I use them as a mining team to go mine up places. The Mantis Sting is also a nighttime guy as well. Lumbering 2, mining 3. This guy's a boss guy. I don't think there's, I guess there's a habitat over there. I only got the boss version one, which was right up here. This one, the Mantis Sting, here's the entrance to the cave. You run in and there's the actual Mantis Sting. Anubis you can also catch early as a boss. I've showed it in one of my videos how to catch him early. One of the best guys for handiwork 4, mining 3, transporting 2. The main reason I even keep an Anubis in my team is just for the handiworking 4. When I want to craft something, I come over here and I change it to my Anubis and I throw my Anubis at it and he'll go and he'll craft. That's probably the only reason why I keep Anubis in there, because he's not super good at fighting, but he is super good at crafting stuff. Jormuntide is the best guy for watering. I show how to catch a Jormuntide early in one of my videos as well. Jormuntide, you can catch Jormuntide early. It's not very fast at chasing you. Really easy to catch. Well, I can show that a little bit later too. Jormuntide Ignis, they only spawn right here on this tiny little island. It's great for fire if you're just looking straight for fire, which is why I have one. Great at defense as well. Sazaku, whatever you want to call it. They only spawn up here. This is a great flying mount. You see me flying around with a Sazaku all the time. Endgame mount, you can't ride him until way later. Sazaku Aquas. This guy I've never even saw or found the habitat. The only time I actually even caught a Sazaku Aquas is when somebody was raiding, and I caught it that way. These guys are hard to find. I'm sure they only spawn in dungeons or something. I don't know where they spawn. The hardest guy it took me to find, for whatever reason, was the Grisbolt. The Grisbolt was the very last guy that I caught. He was on this island. I spent 5 hours on this island, literally clearing everything out or more, just trying to catch a Grisbolt because I knew he spawned down here, but I couldn't catch him. And the main reason why I knew he spawned down there was the habitat. It's the habitat. And you can find the habitat when you actually fight the main tower multiple times. This one right here. When you fight this tower enough times, you can get it. Now, I know there's a bug or defect where you can catch a different one, but I only caught a real one. I haven't caught anyone the fake way. The Liline, I can see has planting 4 and all these other things, but you don't ever really catch a Liline until way later because this is the endgame island. By the time you actually even get up there to catch a Liline, you probably won't need to use them anymore. Then there's the Liline Noct. I don't know why the Liline Noct. These higher level guys should have more abilities, in my own personal opinion. You can use them more, but this guy has no planting, just handiwork, gathering, and everything else. Phalaris is another type of boss, guys. You can find him right here. He's on the tiny little island. Phalaris, its food consumption is high. It flies fast, but trying to find a swift version at the point by the time you get one of these guys, you'll probably have something else that's a swift version for flying. This guy also consumes a ton of food. He's got good amount of electricity, but his food consumption alone, when you put him in your base, he just eats up so much food. The Shadowbeak is an amazing guy. His special ability, when he casts it, it does a ton of damage. Great at fighting. The Pallades and the Nocrimus, this guy never goes to sleep. This guy does go to sleep. They're cool and all. They do a lot of damage, but because they're neutral and dark, they're not as good at tanks as the Frostilian or other type of things. The Frostilian you can catch the same way like you catch Jetragon and all the other guys that I have videos on. The Frostilian and the Jetragon, as you can see, they're 110 and 111, are one of the 2 hardest guys to fight solo at lower level. I caught both of these guys at level 40. They're both level 50. You can catch them early. It is not easy. They were very, very tough fights, very, very hard. Now there's one other guy that's in here. That's the 137, which is the Frostilian Knight version. I don't have that version. I have no idea where the habitat is for the Knight version for Frostilian, if it even does spawn in the world. But you would have to breed them and hatch an egg to get that one. And then there's the Jetragon, which I just showed at the beginning of this video of how to get them. Okay, those are all the different pals. Those are my quick review of them. When you finally get the Jetragon and the Frostilian, these guys are definitely worth having on your team, as well as the Shadowbeak. These 3 guys are some of the most powerful. Powerful Dragon, powerful Ice, powerful Dark. The Phalaris is great for fire if you're just doing for fire. But because I just use a Ridden mount, and I'm just going to show this real quick. If you take this guy, and if you're wondering how to catch Jormuntide early, once you have a Vanny Worm, and once you have Poison Blast, the game Poison Blast and Ignite Blast. You just need these 2. The third ability can be whatever you want. I like to put it as Wing Cutter and or Dragon Cannon. All these 3 have the longest range and do the most amount of damage. When you come over here and you want to catch a Jormuntide, you can catch a Jormuntide early. Or say, for example, you wanted to catch a Verdesh early. Any mounted, you can use any mounted mount. You don't have to use a Vanny Worm. As long as you mount your guy, come over here, and you come over to one of these like this. Even while you're inside of a boss fight, you can throw your guy. mount him up, and literally just start attacking. If it's in the game, it's not, you're not bugging out or anything. And look, I've already taken him down this much hit points before he actually starts trying to attack me. Now the nice thing about Poison Blast is it does a tiny itty bitty like interrupt slash stun. So not only does it do poison damage and everything else, you can literally just hit him down like that and then throw a ball at him and catch him. Just like that. Really quick, really easy. And you can do that for any of the guys. And then once, if you don't want to lose your guy, you just come over here and dismount. Pull him back. And you can catch so many guys just like that. I know I'm already higher level than Verdesh, but if you're trying to catch guys early, that's the way that you can do it in this game. The game was really, really fun for me, up to trying to have a goal to catch every single pal. Now there's definitely things that, because it's early access, that they need to fix. They need to fix more endgame stuff. I think they should add more Easter eggs for skills. I think they need to add the dungeons. They need to add a map in the dungeon. They don't have maps in dungeons. All the dungeons are basically copies of themselves, just with new different skin on themselves. But that aside from all the different base management, from all the different pals you can catch, the different abilities, once you catch them all, it's a great game for breeding everything. But I compare it very similar to Ark Survival. So some people it is comparable to another type of game, but it's very similar to Ark Survival, but very simplified for people that want to play and enjoy it. So definitely a fun game. I highly enjoyed it. Definitely still needs work because it's early access. Just put all this back in this guy. Definitely things I need to work on, like the base. If I were to leave the game, I need to switch out my team because your guys don't eat when they are not in their actual base. What I mean by that is, when you're not online, they don't eat. So I literally switch out my team completely so that I have another team in there, so that when I log out of the game, these guys will always be in a sick state. See over here, they're depressed, some have ulcers and fractures and more depressed. I just leave this team in here because this is my offline team. But other than that, it's been really fun. It's been very enjoyable to collect them all. I know I never reached the level 50 mark on this particular playthrough, on this particular game. But once you get to a certain point and you actually capture all the higher level guys, like the Frostilian, the Jetragon, and these other guys, there's nothing more to do besides breeding and trying to get the perfect pal with the higher skills and all the other abilities. So, that aside, thank you for watching. Thank you for this review. And if you enjoyed this content, please feel free to hit the like button. Helps me out a ton. Helps to push out this content to other people, bring awareness to it. If you would like, please feel free to leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Especially what you don't like, so that I can improve and make better content. If you have not already, please feel free to subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, that's okay as well. Come back once a week, once a month, check out what content I have. I've kind of completely almost stopped playing Palworld. I'm still hosting the server for friends, family, and kids. And I get on to play with them. But other than that, the game has kind of fallen off for me because the end game content is not quite there for early access game. But up to how much I played it, just collecting every single guy, was extremely enjoyable. I played it extremely. I highly enjoyed it. If you're just a casual player, I guarantee you will enjoy it if you like the capturing and running around trying to collect as many guys as you can. Thank you again for watching. Thank you all for being here. And you all have a wonderful